right, welcome to episode 28 of the Dragon's Tome. I am your host, Chopper, and I am joined again with three of the most famous guys in all of Canada. Two of the most famous guys in Canada.
I was a little scared for a second.
Two. Well, I was thinking that maybe I was going to be honorary Canada, but now you've taken that from me, so now it's over.
Goofballs, everybody. These aren't goofballs.
That dream is gone.
Your dream is gone.
So I am again joined with Jack and Rob. Please wave. There's not even really know who's who because we know who they are already.
Yes, unless this is your first time watching, and then you're like, "What the hell is going on?"
Why did you start at issue 28? Is this your favorite issue? If so, comment below.
Yes,
I'm wrong.
All right, so let's take a look at this cover. We have the new dragon logo again, as we pointed out last, that me and Jack didn't notice. The ever astute Rob Harper pointed it out.
Yep.
Is there a new Snits board game inside?
No. This is not even Snits. This is a brand new game altogether.
I had that fear as well.
It looks snitsy. It looks pretty snitsy.
I think it might be drawn by the same people who drew Snits, but
and it's based on the cartoon that's been running in that we haven't addressed. Yeah.
So
the comics aren't great yet.
No.
It's Starship based, so
yeah,
which is cool. Well, we're in August, still $2. We have
It's Dean Morrissey, I believe, we've had this guy before. Who drew this one.
He's obviously fighting some kind of tree guy in a cave with a moon filling the whole cave entrance.
Is that what you see?
What do you see?
That's what I see.
What do you see?
Yeah.
Well, I see a branch.
I guess so. He's wrapped around the whole moon. I guess so. It's weird. It's a weird picture. I think it's Swamp Thing.
Swamp Thing.
Or Man Thing.
Definitely a high fantasy situation going on here.
Yeah, so
I like how the fighter looks, though. He looks awesome.
Yeah, so he's, again, we're still making strides, and this is by far one of the better covers. Everyone here is proportionate.
Pat is proportions.
Yep.
So, all right. Well, then, seeing as Jack tried to derail us last week.
It was all my fault. It was. I apologize.
I'm going to let Rob do his Dragon Rumbles before he gets all high-pitched and whiny again.
It's all right. It's a quick one. It's a real quick one, guys. Don't worry. Casca doesn't have much to say. He does go off on how outsiders see gamers as strange and wants to enlighten them. And he says, dressing up in SS uniforms, yelling, "Burn the tanks," or wearing armor looking for orcs is not the way. And he says, let your freak flag fly, but not that much. Yeah, he's trying to appeal to the more of the normies, as it were. Little did he know that now D&D appeals to everybody. Everybody plays this. It's amazing how many people, just random people, play D&D, or know of it at least. But back then, just those weird geeky peoples.
And honestly, cosplay has become a huge part of the. He's like, "Oh, don't dress up like in armor," and I'm like, he would lose his fool mind if he saw what people dressed up like now, commonplace walking around.
I would say cosplay's bigger than actually playing the game. Probably more people dress up. We went to Comic-Con and it was amazing.
Yeah, that would be a solid argument. You know what I'm saying?
How many of your friends that you work with actually do cosplay? And I'm sure they don't play D&D.
They do, though.
They play D&D also?
Yeah, the girl that just like Wonder Woman.
You've never introduced me to these people?
Yeah, they came out of the booth. Remember, she was just she had her gold Wonder Woman thing on, I think, that year.
She wanted nothing to do with me. It's okay.
So
she's like, "Where's Pat?"
You were dressed like a SS officer yelling "Burn the tanks." So
Burn the tanks.
Anyways, don't be too freaky for Cass.
Don't be too freaky. All right, Jack, do you have a first Arte clean?
Yes, if we could all follow me to the PDF page 33, the magazine page 31.
Oh, how bizarre. How bizarre.
How bizarre, how bizarre. Now, it's not, there's no windbags involved. That joke was last week. But what was last week's entry, which was, brought up only as a point of, jests and japes. This is actually some magic items that are usable in the game. And actually, one of them is like a cursed item that I'm like, okay, why would you... We're a little too early on for this kind of nonsense. But some of them, I think, actually make it into the game proper eventually.
The game's good. Well, this article you read is by our good friend Len.
Oh, yeah. We had discussed him a little while ago. We should be on Len Lakofka watch. He's becoming a force of nature, and apparently he continues to do so throughout his life. So, yeah. So again, this has got some magic items. It's got the cost. It's got what it does, and some of them I think are actually of note and worthy of putting into your adventure.
There's a lot. He actually put down quite a few bits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. That's it for you. All right. I don't want to interrupt you.
No.
I know I've been accused for the last 3 weeks. I've been accused of interrupting Jack. So what am I doing?
I'm like that my whole life, so it's okay.
Page 9 of the PDF.
I work with Coach. on a little something called team building exercise. You could literally scream in my face for an hour and a half, and I'd still be like, no, he's got you beat. Sorry, I've been working with him for years.
So my article is a short course in D&D by Dan Bromberg.
I had this one.
This was actually a very nice article, I thought. It was a nice little article.
I was amazed.
And this may have been the first D&D club in the school.
It's almost like it's more than a club, though. It's like a class.
Yeah.
He actually got his
extracurricular
class.
It was a nice little short story about how this prep school created a D&D class to teach D&D to the freshman classes. 50.
Well, not if everybody signed up, and if 55 people signed up.
Yeah.
Imagine having 55 people trying to play D&D in one school.
Let's point this out. This is a prep school, so we're talking about a high school. Mm-hmm. So it was a very good article. I just thought, how do we teach these people how to play D&D? How do we get it going? Let's start maybe teach a class. They got funding from a teacher who knew someone. I can't remember. I can't remember what they got funding from someone.
Well, no, the school gives, I think, funding to it, and they had to have a teacher as a what do they call it? Like a mentor.
Yes.
But they expected. I think they said they wanted 20 people in there, and then 55 people signed up, and they're like, "What are we supposed to do?" And they're like, "Let them all in. We'll do it."
Yeah.
And they increased it all for that many people, and they bought a bunch of books and
dice.
Yep. And they got the more experienced players to become DMs who never DM'd before, to teach them how to DM because they already knew how to play, and it's wow.
Yeah.
Did you notice there's low impact dice and high impact dice? I've never even heard that before.
Yeah, I don't know what that meant. I saw that too, but I was like,
obviously,
the
high impact obviously are more expensive because they had only the DMs got the high impact dice.
Yeah, maybe the high impact dice bounce around more.
I like how they had to solve the problem of death. At first, they just had one of the DMs running. If you died, you went to his group, and so many people died. They had to figure out a way to have death because you couldn't. It's a class. You can't kick people out. So
yeah. Or they turned them into ghosts, right?
Yeah. One of the DMs was running his own campaign in like the Netherworld, kind of. Kind of reminds us how we started, Jack, on a much smaller scale. In high school.
In high school, yeah, that's how I started playing well before that, but it's basically the same thing. It was probably 10 people in elementary school. Not 50.
No,
of course, I think
5 people.
I can guarantee you there probably wasn't 55 people in my elementary school in my grade like that.
All right. Well, that was me. Rob, what'd you have?
Let's go to page what is that? Page 3 or something? Page 4?
You tell us.
4 in the PDF, 2. I don't know how the numbering in this magazine was. It's weird. Somehow
this one's bizarre.
There's a weird numbering on the actual magazine, this one, but anyways, page 4. It's The Politics of Hell by mass murderer Alexander von Thoren. I guarantee this guy went on to kidnap and sacrifice women or children. It's nothing like a satanic article to get out of the stereotyping of D&D players.
I don't think the satanic panic has happened yet. I think
this was the start of it right here.
Well, no, there was a couple high-profile murders along with the religious, what we would call evangelicals. At the time, I don't think this helped, but it wasn't. It wasn't in the the.
It was right around here that one kid went missing, and they said he went missing in like the tunnels under his school or something like that, and they said it was because of D&D. It turned out he actually had mental problems. So
yeah, he was schizophrenic, but. Yeah. Thankfully, he went on, him and his best friend, they got some cheap housing. They had to dress like women to do it. But, yeah.
Yes, Tom Hanks did play him in the TV movie.
Thank you for getting that. That would have been a long walk and trying to explain it.
I didn't know where you were going at first, but I got there.
Okay. Bosom Buddies was a show. Oh, no. Go on. I apologize.
So this article is cast Satan as a sympathetic character, which I was like, okay. And I won't bother saying how wrong it is about everything he talks about, but needless to say, he wants to bang Satan. I think it's like fanfic. Right?
Oh Jesus!
But in the end, it's really explanation why Asmodeus is the leader of hell in AD&D. But it's a strange way to get there. Also, he sets it in our timeline, nothing to do with D&D, which makes you think he actually believes this. And check Alexander von Thoren on some FBI list because he killed people. And also, I do like a Staroth.
Most wanted.
Staroth is my favorite one he describes because he keeps getting offered stuff like the leadership and stuff, and he keeps declining because he doesn't want any responsibility. He's like, nah, I'm doing what I'm doing. Anyways, an odd article because even the editor or the author's notes like saying about Asmodeus and how he's not really a real one from like mythology. But why would you write something in modern times to describe how Asmodeus ascended to leader of hell and literally set it in a timeline? It's very odd. It's a very odd article. It's out of place to be in a Dragon magazine. I think they're desperate for articles, but I was just like, wow, this was weird. And to start the magazine off with it, too. Maybe throw this in the back. Throw it somewhere over. Very first article in the magazine. Odd place to put this.
Well, it's even worse is they even give it a full color.
Yeah, full color.
I love the art. The art with the wraparound. Like it's not obviously not the centerfold, but it is one picture that the two of them would butt up against each other. And it's got some of the classics, like the Bone Devil at the bottom. It's got like it's lovely. You can't fault the art full color. But yeah, apparently Rob thinks there's some devil erotic fanfic situation going on here.
All right, Jack, what do you got coming up now?
What do I got? Okay, PDF 21 or page 19 in the magazine if you're following along on your physical copy. And this is called Up on a Soapbox. Now, it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a new column of like, hey.
This is one of mine.
Okay, well, I brought it up because
it's a Gygax one too.
Yeah,
you are the resident expert on this situation, so I'll give a quick overview, and then you can give us the haps of modern day situation. What this is vendors going to conventions and weighing the pros and cons of who's the bigger draw at this time. Is it the vendors bringing in the bringing in the goods, or is it the actual event itself? And how much someone who is going to work the convention, what the compensation should or shouldn't be, and who's at the end of the day, who's able to do. Well, spoilers, the big companies with lots of money are able to do things that small companies can't, is the gist.
Very much so.
So young Patrick, if you read the article and this is one of yours, what's your professional opinion?
Well, I think surprisingly enough, he hits the nail on this one, because I've had this conversation many times with convention attendees. I get a lot, and I'll use Origins as an example, because we've talked about it from time to time. People ask why Mantic doesn't go to Origins at this point, because it costs versus what it takes for me to get there and what it's going to cost us to be there, as to opposed what we're going to make for the weekend. I don't feel that it's worth the effort in that sense. And this is kind of what he says, that going to a convention is just not, hey, we're here, we'll set up our stuff, and then you're going to buy it, and everything's hunky-dory, and we've just made $1 million, and it all goes into my fat coffers. But it costs money. Every person that is there costs money. The space you stand on costs money. The shows you put product on costs money.
Food, lodging.
Yeah, food, lodging. He does a breakdown on the thing, which is fairly, the prices of these things are ridiculously low. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
You wish it was only $420 for 15 people to eat for 7 days.
Exactly. The room's only cost $250 for 5 nights. Jesus, that's one night.
That's one night,
Gen Con now.
Yep.
What he doesn't put in his breakdown is how much it costs to rent space, to get the space.
I'm pretty sure he probably doesn't put that because he doesn't want to give you how much they pay, right? So for a Gary Gygax article about getting up on a soapbox, it is actually very, very tame for him in the tone. But that being said, he does hit the nail on the head. And I don't see, if you read this article, that there's any arguments to be had against his point, because these are solid numbers, and they tell you,
And specifically at some of these, they are the draw. They are at the convention. The exhibitors are the big thing. Sure, you can play some games and stuff, but when you're releasing new, peripheries for what you're there for,
exclusive stuff, or first come, first serve stuff, and
convention exclusives, stuff like that. Yeah, they do have a. So,
you just have to see when Gen Con, the doors open on the first day of Dealer Hall, to see the stampede of people coming. You know that it is a draw for a lot of people.
Yeah.
All right. So, that was also one of mine. So I will go to my third article, which is on page 14. And I'm sure you guys saved this for me.
It's a
Six Guns and Sorcery. This article is really talks about the conversion of Boot Hill to D&D and vice versa. So you can have your D&D character enter some kind of realm where Boot Hill is the prevalent.
I've never really read the DM guide, especially this version, but there is rules for going to other role-playing games in the DM's guide.
Yes.
So that's why they're including this kind of stuff in there.
Yeah, so I think it's pretty cool. I never actually did it, and it never occurred to me to bring D&D into Boot Hill. But, now it's all over the place, right?
Yeah, this
As
was
far
probably
as-
revolutionary at the time, but now having cross, moving different systems to I remember in the 90s they would make whole systems like rifts and stuff like that. That was the deal. You go to all these different genres with the same character.
Yeah. So, but it's not hard to see Six Guns and Sorcery. It almost goes hand in hand. You know what I'm saying? Wild West with Magic.
Well, especially, like you said, if the two systems are that close, it should be pretty easy to move them across.
Yeah. So, I like both these games when I was growing up, and I think it sounds like a fun little thing for the games.
Coolio. You're the host, Pat.
Oh, I am. Who's next? You.
Me.
Wow, yeah.
Sorcerer Scroll. Gygax is trying
What
to explain...
page is that on?
Oh, sorry, it's on page... it's page 10 of the PDF. Of the magazine, and 12 of the PDF. Gygax tries to explain law versus chaos in the
Oh, God, here we
alignment.
go.
Obviously, this was all solved before in the previous article we talked about last week. He also gives a worse hierarchy of hell than the other article in this magazine, which it's hard to believe, but it's true. So he's not batting 1,000 there. I've always found that Gygax's other planes of reality were way too complex and tried to incorporate too many different versions of the same thing. Like, there's like 4 different hells, like in Gygax's mythology. So it's like...
This is a lengthy article.
It is.
It's giant.
Well, he has to write whatever he wants.
Yeah.
He says that playing good and evil is easier than playing law and chaos because good and evil, law and chaos is a lot more built into your being than good and evil, which is kind of strange to say, but it is easy to play evil if you're a good person, whereas trying to play chaotic if you're someone who likes order is a lot harder. And he ends with saying DMs have to ride the alignments of players, so they'll take advantage, and it's very adversarial of him, but he say that it's easy to be a good character and then just throw your morals out the window, or be a lawful character and just steal stuff. You have to... The reason there's these alignments is to keep people in check, which I don't believe in that, but that's
No.
that's always the argument for religion, right? If you didn't have religion, people would just be eating each other in the streets. But
Yes. Yeah.
I think
yeah.
characters have a moral guidepost, I think, enough that if they want to play the game, they want to stay within certain realms.
Yeah, the only thing stopping me from raping someone's religion, well, no, I rape the exact amount of people I want to right now. 0.
That's right.
I don't need religion to tell me that. That's just society.
That's what alignments is, really. That's what it comes down to. But it is a long article. I won't go into most of it, but he really goes into his idea of the different types of demons and devils and all these other things, all these different parts of hell and who's neutral and who's... It's like, dude... The other guy's hell was a lot more simpler and a lot more sense than this. That's all I'm saying. So there you go. Gygax being Gygax.
All right, Jack, what do you got?
No more articles. If we go on to the ad portion of our
I got
little
so
endeavor.
many more articles that blow your head off.
Really?
Well, I am tapped out also on articles, Robs.
Okay,
well,
I got 2 more then. We'll go
back
with
to
these
back, these boys.
First one is the big thing, Dungeon Master's Guide's developer notes. So it's really a puff piece to promote the Dungeon Master's Guide that's coming out soon. And it's a bunch of the people who worked on it. They do interviews with him. First one is Jeff Leeson. He thinks he's funny because he uses a lot of big words, and he's not. So we'll skip him. Lawrence Schick gives good advice where to start in the DMG so as not to be overwhelmed. He also backtracks on Gygax saying that no rules shall be changed, saying that the bones the certain things that he described have to stick to those, but the rest can be mutable. What's her name? What's her name? Where is she? Jen Wells?
Yeah.
She takes shots at how elves are portrayed and disputes female dwarves having beards. Like, she really is against some of this stuff. I think the dwarf thing's a joke, but she really hates how the elves are portrayed in the book, I guess, which aren't like, they're like lovey-dovey forest creatures. Alan Hammock also says the rules are there for structure. Don't be afraid to wing it. He says DMs are not to be nice, but also give out lots of sweet loot. He also takes some shots at the rules concerning paladins and lycanthropy, which is very specific. But I guess if in the book, if a paladin gets infected with lycanthropy and then gets cured, he can't be a paladin anymore, which is kind of strange. He's also pissed there's no apostrophe after Dungeon Masters in the title, and also in Player's Handbook. They should all have apostrophes, but there's no apostrophes, and he's really mad about that.
Technically, that is correct.
Yep. And lastly, Gygax. He's pretty much rehashed a lot of stuff he's already said. He says D&D had campaigns made to be run 6 days or 6 weeks, where AD&D is more for 6 months or 6 years. It's much more in depth. And also slower player pressure, so you're not losing control of how fast these guys gain levels, so you can actually play your characters longer. And he's also changed his tune. I remember before he said, "Oh, this is the final thing. We'll never need a second edition." But he actually changed his tune and says, "Eventually, there will probably need a second edition when a bunch of old rules come in." And it's true. It does happen eventually. And we're up to 5th edition now. So 5th, 6th?
Mm-hmm.
It's 5th, I think. And that's that one. My other article to finish off is Out on a Limb, because it's always funny. And Out on a Limb on this one, I think we talked about it before, about the Best of Dragon magazine.
Which page is that?
Oh, PDF? Sorry. Jack, you always on me. Page 20 in the magazine, 22 in the PDF. Somebody complaining that they can't get back issues. And that's why we were talking about why the Best of Dragon magazine's coming out. But the editor says, well, we can't keep old magazines, and reprinting old issues is not economically feasible, and it does make you appreciate the internet, right? Like, nothing is gone. We can all find all this stuff now. Back then, you just, if it was gone, it's gone. You just couldn't have it. Somebody else has a bunch of options on how to play D&D should work, like his own ideas how it should work. And the editor writes a treatise on how the letter writer is wrong. It literally is like a choose your own adventure, because it keeps continuing. Like, he goes to a different part, and then it's like continued on this page. It's like following a good old choose your own adventure.
Yeah, but do you choose to listen to the editor? Go to page 22. If you choose not to.
Yeah, he goes on for a long time disputing all this guy says, and how dare you think that you know better than us and stuff like that. But he goes on for a long time saying the same thing over and over again and insulting this guy. No wonder he doesn't get any letters to the editor. He just insults everybody who killed on. Anyways, that's all articles I have. So if you guys want to go into ads.
Jack, what do you got?
If we want to follow me on to page 13 on the PDF, and it's page 11 of the book. It's at the bottom third of the page is Trek 80, which is a Star Trek video game for the Radio Shack TSR 80 computer.
Yep, the Trash 80.
Trash 80, yeah.
Now, I believe the T stands for Tandy, because I think that's what it ended up being or was, but I've never played this game, never heard of this game.
Wow. It's a text-based, I assume, because Trash 80 couldn't do much.
And but the way it
oh, no, I remember this game. It wasn't all text. It was almost ASCII-like.
ASCII, yeah.
Oh, okay. Because it goes, it's a big ad, and it has...
because the Enterprise was a circle, a line, do that, and then 2 lines. So if you looked at it from the top.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and the Klingons were a line and like an M.
It's $15 on cassette. Back when computers had cassettes.
Yeah, that's when you put the cassette that was connected to because it was magnetic tape, I think, right?
Yeah, we had the VIC-20 and then the Commodore 64, which had a very similar system. We never had the...
Trash 80 was one of the very first computers, like personal computers.
Yeah, my friend had a Trash 80, and we played Zork, and I think I remember this game too.
But it's got so many bells and whistles. It's got energy shields and probes and warp drives and all of its... it sounds like if it was to come out today, you would go, oh, okay, yeah, I guess so. That's a lot, but
Imagine you're promised all this, and then you get that game with ASCII art, and well, it probably blew your mind back then, though, too.
Yeah,
Possibly.
Remember this? We're not even 1980 yet. And this is still.
But I remember playing like Nintendo games, and the cover would be awesome, and the description would be awesome. You get in the game, you're like, oh my god, this is terrible.
Yeah.
Or Atari games, even worse. It's like because Atari games always had the most beautiful box art, like they had amazing box art, and then you'd get in the game and it'd be like pixels across the screen.
Yep, you were a triangle going around squares over a field of hexagons coming towards you, and you're just like, I want that starship on the front with that blonde-haired man in the phaser rifle. What's going on here? Yeah. So that was my. It sounds like a game to be had. Like that sounds amazing. And I was like, I can't imagine it lived up to the hype at all. So, yeah, that's mine.
Pat, you got any?
All right. Yep, I did. I was looking for the page number. It's 51.
51.
Introducing 3 new sci-fi fantasy games, 2 of which that I own. And I was like, oh, look at these games. First one being Frank Herbert's Dune by Avalon Hill.
Still variations of this still being made today?
Yeah, but it's still the original version is almost played like, I mean, all versions now are almost played like the original version still. Mm-hmm. And then the other game that I had was Wizard's Quest. This was a fun game, but I just remember it took a long time to play. Because you have to do all this. Yeah, it's almost like a talisman where you have to kind of buff your wizard up before you do the end, so you spend more time buffing than actually trying to get through the game quicker.
Doing the grind.
Yeah, so I just remember that part, but I liked it enough that I would have played it again. But I didn't like it enough that I would buy the game. Back then.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
it's like, if you're happy with having 2 out of the 3, I don't know, that's you. You know.
It's not like you like getting stuff. It's not like you want to go find the Magic Realm on eBay and buy it.
It's not going to happen.
Well, as a side note, if please allow me to sidestep for just a moment. You two, come here. Let's set a little sidebar. You two,
nobody's listening. Yep.
No one, yeah. Yep. I tried to get a 4th dimension, that game. $50 for it, and I found a site called Board Game Geek, and they no one was complimentary about the game at all. It was actually. And then I said, you know what, maybe I can find that Stomp game. Now, we're talking maybe 8 episodes ago. There's just a line art of some sandals and little guys, shooting a bird and sticking a tongue out.
Yeah.
And, I couldn't even, there wasn't even a copy of that to be had. So, I'm batting nil on the attempt to go get, hey, guys, look what I got. Yeah, because I think it was $50 for the 4th dimension on the copy I found, and I said, I'm not doing that.
No, it's a little expensive.
That's a bit expensive.
Trash game.
Yeah, and no one said it was very good. So, anyways, that was my little. Come on back, everyone. Come on back. We're done.
I just need them for a second. Yep. Thanks.
All right. Well, Rob, any articles from you? No.
No, I have no ads. I have nothing.
Are you all finished with your ads there, Jack?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, I am too then. So I guess let's wrap it up. We've you know what? No one did the Dragon's Bestiary.
No one did, because they couldn't even be bothered to put a picture.
But they did put a picture. It's on the piano. So
what page is that?
Oh, the picture?
What page is Dragon's Bestiary on?
Oh, it's
on the PDF. It's 52. In the book, it's 50.
Oh yeah, it's no picture. It just says Slinger. Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's it. Jack doesn't like it if there's no picture.
That's funny.
You can't be bothered. Like, I started reading it. I'm like, oh, okay, it's a that looks like an armadillo. Okay, I can draw an armadillo. Can't you draw an armadillo?
There's a big white right here. The armadillo could have gone.
Yep.
But yeah, so Jake Jackett, I hope you got your blood money from TSR. You got your $20. But next time, get out the crayons and your give us something to work with.
I'm looking at the Snit game here. It's this Xantar. Man, it looks bad.
I mean, these games are, hand drawn.
I do like the ship map. It's kind of fun.
Yeah. I would want to read those and see if it's worth taking a try.
I would just use the ship map in like what is it? Starfinder or something like that. This is your ship.
Well, since we're addressing it, it is based on a comic that has come out in previous magazines, and the story of the comic thus far was kind of interesting, where it was 5 races that got together, and they all got spacefaring, and they all got together spacefaring, and they built a big ship, and I think it's called the Zuntar, and they went to the planet, and they were supposed to bring back an inhabitant of the planet and some rock samples, and apparently the game is what happens when one of the inhabitants had fallen asleep, and they said, "Oh, he's the volunteer."
Wow.
I'm guessing that inhabitant runs amok in the ship in the game. I don't know. Maybe they're not related.
That's funny.
I don't know.
Well, if anybody's played, what is it, Xantar, please let us know.
Yeah, please. All right.
All done.
All done. So if we have no more articles or anything to look at, what do you guys say? Shall we wrap this up?
Let's wrap this puppy up.
All right. Well, guys, it's been a pleasure. As always, like, subscribe, ring the bell, all the good things that YouTube asks you to do.
Send Jack nudes.
Send Jack nudes. Write some comments if you see anything or want to refute anything we say. We will be gladly...
I'll respond as Gygax would.
Yes. We'd all like to threaten you with a thread. But yeah. So for Dragon's Tomb, I've been your host, Chopper.
I'm Jack.
I'm Rob.
And we'll see you guys again next week.
See you in your dreams.
Bye-bye.